The most valuable currency that you possess is not the money in your bank account. It is not the time left on your clock. The most expensive, powerful resource that you have is your attention. Most people walk through life thinking that looking at something is a passive act. You think that when you look at your debt, or you think about your ex, or you stress about your job, you are just observing reality. But physics and spirituality tell us something very different. Observation is not passive. Observation is creative. You are not a camera taking a picture of your life. You are a projector projecting the movie, and the mechanism of that projection is your focus. I want to give you a metaphor that will change how you handle every single problem for the rest of your life. I want you to imagine that your life is a massive dark field, and scattered across that field are hundreds of potential fires. Some of these fires are things that you want: a burning passion for a career, a warm fire of a loving relationship, the bright blaze of financial abundance. But some of these fires are things that you don't want: the fire of debt, the fire of conflict, the fire of sickness, the fire of loneliness. Now here's the catch. You are standing in the middle of this field, holding a massive fire hose. But this hose doesn't shoot water. It shoots high-octane gasoline. And this gasoline is your consciousness. Whatever you point this hose at explodes it into life. It grows brighter, hotter, bigger. Whatever you turn the hose away from eventually consumes its fuel source, flickers, and dies out. This is the mechanical law of the universe. What you starve dies. What you feed grows. The reason your problems seem to be getting bigger, the reason your debt seems to be multiplying, the reason the drama in your family never seems to end, is because you are standing there with the hose pointed directly at the problem, screaming, "I hate this fire," while pouring gallons of gasoline onto it. You are feeding the beast that you are trying to kill. You have to understand the physics of the fuel. Your thoughts are energy, but your emotions are the accelerant. If you just have a fleeting thought about a bill, that is like a drop of fluid. It flares up for a second. But when you obsess over it, when you cry about it, when you call your friend and vent about it for an hour, you are literally drenching that reality in energy. You are making it dense. You are solidifying it. In quantum physics, this is a concept called quantum Zeno effect. It essentially states that a system cannot change while you are watching it. Constant observation freezes the state of the particle. When you wake up every morning and immediately check the problem, check the bank account, check for the text message, check the symptom, you are locking that reality in place. You are using your focus to anchor the problem into the 3D world. You are keeping the fire alive because you are terrified to take your eyes off of it. This is where the illusion of responsibility traps us. We are taught that worrying is responsible. We think that if we ignore the problem, we are being delusional. So we stare at the fire. We analyze the fire. We talk about how hot the fire is. But you have to realize that you cannot put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it, no matter how much you hate the fire. The only way to extinguish a reality that you don't want is to starve it of its oxygen. You have to withdraw your attention. This is the hardest thing to do for a human because our primitive brains are designed to fixate on threats. But you must become the master of your hose. You have to look at the massive bonfire of your debt or your struggle and physically turn your head away. You have to say, I'm no longer funding this reality with my energy. When you first take your attention off of a problem, it doesn't vanish instantly. The fire still has some old wood to burn. This is the echo period. The problem might flare up one last time to try to get your attention back. It wants the fuel. It is hungry for your fear. But if you hold your frame, if you refuse to engage, if you refuse to react emotionally, the fire runs out of resources. It becomes embers and eventually it turns to ash. This isn't just a metaphor, honestly, man. It's your biology. Your neural pathways work in the same way. If you stop thinking about a trauma, the neural connection literally degrades. The physical wires in your brain disconnect. You physically forget how to be the person who has that problem. Now let's talk about where to aim that hose. If you aren't pointing at the problem, where does it go? You have to point it at the solution, but not in a desperate way. You have to point at the reality where the problem is already solved. And honestly, this is actually the core secret that we discovered when we analyzed the psychology of past lottery winners to create the lottery bundle linked in the description. We found that these winners had an uncanny ability to simply stop feeding the I am broke narrative. They didn't dwell on their lack. They poured all of their mental fluid onto the fire of I am lucky, I am wealthy, long before the ticket was drawn. They fueled the result, not the lack of the result. And a lot of them had really crappy lives before that, man. So that ability to shift focus is what we call the pivot. The pivot is a consciousness, mechanical act. When a negative thought arises, like what if I can't pay rent? You have to catch yourself holding the hose. You have to say, whoops, I'm feeling the wrong fire. And you immediately pivot to, I always figure it out. Money flows to me. It requires discipline, man. It requires mental muscle. But at first, you will feel like you're lying to yourself. You'll feel like you are ignoring reality. But remember, you are not ignoring reality. You are creating reality. You are choosing which fire gets to eat. Think about a time in your life when a huge, quote, problem just went away. Maybe it was a drama at work or a weird pain in your body. Usually it went away right after you were distracted by something else. Maybe you went on vacation, or you fell in love, or you got busy with a hobby. And then suddenly you looked up 2 weeks later and realized, hey, that problem is gone. Why? You stopped feeding it. You accidentally starved it to death. Now I want you to do that on purpose. The ultimate fuel is peace. When you focus on a desire with anxiety, I need this to happen, you are actually feeling the lack fire. You're saying, I don't have it. It creates a lot of smoke. It's dirty fuel. The cleanest fuel is gratitude and knowing. When you focus on your dream life with a sense of calm, knowing it's done, that is like pouring liquid oxygen onto the fire of your destiny. It burns clean, it burns bright, it manifests quickly. So your homework for the next 72 hours is to be a vigilant fireman. Watch where your hose is pointing. If you catch yourself spiraling into a story about how hard life is, stop. Literally say stop out loud. Cut the flow of fluid. Turn your attention to something neutral or something beautiful. Do not let your precious life force be consumed by fires that you didn't mean to start. You are the generator. You are the source. Nothing in your life can survive without your attention. So kill the problem with silence and build your empire with focus. And like the video if you'd be so kind and comment down below. I control where my focus goes. And catch you when we align once again. Thank you for watching.